You're in the bus, you get a phone call to tell you that you got a job, even without the language. How do you plan to maneuver? Yeah.
First and foremost, I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know the language, I just arrived in the island, and the only thing I know is Ish.
Ishvar.
Ishvar.
Hi guys, thank you so much for watching us today. A quick message. You might be watching this but have not yet hit the subscribe button below. It will mean so much to me, to all of us, if you subscribe. The more the people watch us, the greater the guests that we'll have on this channel to inspire us with their stories and experiences. Thank you so much, and now let's dive in.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel of He. I'm a father and I'm married to one wife, and I love the Lord as my personal savior. And then apart from that, currently living and staying in Malaysia. Yeah. So this is where I'm at.
Great. So at the moment you're staying in Malaysia, but have you always stayed in Malaysia? Where have you been? Of course, today we are talking about your journey to North Cyprus. You will tell us where you started, where were you before North Cyprus, and how did you end up in North Cyprus?
I think I studied here in Malaysia. I think I came 2007, and so I did my nursing here in Malaysia all the way to 2010. Then I worked for 2 years. Then after that, I did my degree here. And then after that, when I finished my degree in nursing, I had an opportunity or scholarship to go and study in Cyprus to do my master's. And then that's how I found myself in Cyprus, to do my master's. Specialty or specializing in pediatrics.
North Cyprus is an island, very tiny island,
right.
Bordering Greece and Turkey and Republic of Cyprus, of course. So the question is, how did you find North Cyprus? Was there an agent involved? Because many students going to North Cyprus, they use agents. Were you conned by the agents? Because many students are also conned by the agents.
I think, to be honest with you, at that point of time, when I had finished my degree and I went to Kenya, I think it was through my mother's friend who introduced us to an agent. And so we thought, why not, let's try them out. And as usual, when you go to them, and the first thing that you always want to know is, are they going to allow me to work, as a student? So they're not very clear if the students can work or not. But with the scholarship, I think maybe that's what maybe gave me a bit of hope, because they gave me 100% scholarship to do my master's. So as usual, as an African, when you're told, don't worry, you have 100% scholarship, and you know what comes into your mind, that's the place to go,
Yeah.
So I was definitely excited to go, because in a place where you're not going to pay a penny. I think that was the part that was exciting. But the funny thing is, with the scholarship, when you say 100%, it basically means they should cover everything. They cover my accommodation, or maybe even cover if I need money here for food and all that. But they're not covering that. Actually, when they meant 100%, they're just trying to say, we're just covering your tuition fees, and then the rest you handle by yourself. But most of the time, they won't mention this ahead of time.
Well, that's of course a marketing gimmick that most people use. They don't give you the fine details.
The full detail.
If you don't read the small print, you're not able to understand exactly what this 100% is all about. Also, when I was going to North Cyprus, because this is where we met, even though we are Kenyans, we met in North Cyprus for the first time.
Yeah.
So I also got 100% from UNICEF as well. They helped me to apply for a scholarship. Yes, for a scholarship to a different university from yours. And then eventually, using these Kenyan groups, we were able to meet, which was really cool. So now you're in North Cyprus. Did you bring some money from home when you were coming?
I think we thank God for mothers. Mothers will not just send you somewhere just like that. They they have like a sixth sense. They never fully trust the whole process. So my mother, she made sure I had a very huge duvet, in in my bag, I appreciate that actually. That really helped me. And that's why she made sure that she gave me some pocket money, at least to get me started. But as usual, like when you're coming from a pastor's family, most of the time when you take this kind of journey, most of the time they will just give you something to start, and then the rest is you better believe God for yourself, huh? That the Lord will
Yeah.
and the Lord will provide for your journey. Being to Malaysia, and then having the kind of exposure of how being overseas looks like, I had so much expectation when I had about Cyprus,
Right.
so, so in my mind, I was just preparing myself to see something just totally different,
Right.
totally different to where I've been, So we just landed to the airport. I think the funny thing is that when I landed in the airport, there was no one to pick me up, and I think it was like, oh my God. So because usually schools will come and pick up. I think I saw the university that was there was, I think GAU. GAU was
Right.
there, and they had representative, and they were looking for their students. And I saw one of our university there, but when I went there, they're actually waiting for the lecturers, but no one is coming for the
Oh.
students. So I just landed there, and funny enough, there was one lady as well who also she had come from Kenya, but I think we met in Turkey, you know, and that's when I realized that she's also going to the same university, So
Right.
so we just realized that here there's no one coming for us. So what are we going to do? So let's just organize ourselves, uh, get ourselves a taxi. And I think that time the only money that we had that was little, we had like $70, you know. So we don't know. You can imagine we don't know what's the currency of the country, and we decided, okay, never mind. Let's just buy ourselves a SIM card, and then try and call the school to see if they come. We tried to call, but I think I don't know, maybe because we arrived on a weekend, so no one is speaking, nothing. So we say, no mind, let's take a taxi for both of us. Let's share. So as we are moving on the road, what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, we use our native language. We
Yeah.
shall go. Yeah,
Oh, I know. It's a remote area from the airport. There's
that's right.
nothing.
Literally, like there are no buildings, like and I think maybe it was just those moments. It's like Kenya sometimes. When you come from the airport, it's like that. But then you hope you will start to see some development.
Yes.
As you go back, as you enter the
Yes.
city.
Yeah.
But nothing was changing. So we were just like, oh my God, okay. So okay, and it was cold. I think because we
I
came
know.
during winter, so it
Yeah.
was so cold. So when I reached the uni, they had I don't know what we call it. It's like a huge hall.
Hall.
Where the visitors used to come and stay for the night before. If it's then we wait for the weekend to finish, and then on Monday, then they will come and then they will organize us to put us to where we're supposed to stay. I met some guys there as well who also are new, and they are freezing, and
Mhm.
and they're just like, okay, where are we gonna sleep, and stuff. So we were just like, find yourself a mattress or whatever, and you're gonna sleep, all right? So I remember my mother's duvet, that was like
Oh.
golden. So I rolled myself like a sandwich, You sleep in everything. Sleep
Yeah.
with your passport, you sleep with your wallet, because you don't know who is who.
True.
So it was just one of those days, Before even I go further, I don't know about your experience. How was your experience?
So for me, I think I had an easy experience.
Okay,
Why am I saying this?
okay.
Because my sister was already in North Cyprus, so she was giving
I
me
see.
update what I should
Okay.
expect, what is the language that these people speak, the money that they use. So I had some kind of knowledge, inner knowledge. But of course, there's not enough information that you can be given to not be shocked when you go to North Cyprus for the first time.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
right.
possible, especially from the airport. I think nowadays there are more buildings along the road to the airport,
Yep.
but
Yep.
then in 2017 there was not much building. Not and when
Yep.
you come I came in the fall. after summer, so after the dry period. So for you,
Yes.
at least you came in winter, there was some kind of green. When I came, it was dusty and very, very hot all the way from Turkey.
Yeah.
So I got to North Cyprus and I was shocked as well. It was during the day. I think it's easier to come at night when you cannot see. So during the day,
Right.
so everything, it was very, very dry and it was like a desert. And I'm like, where am I going? Are we still going to the right place? I was starting to get nervous because maybe I boarded the wrong plane. So anyway, we get there. And my sister had already told me, if you get to the airport, there is a bus. Key bus. It's called Key bus. So board the Key bus and go to Nicosia, where she would be waiting for me. And of course, you don't have the local line, so you always have to use the internet at the airport. So I texted her when I was there, and I said, I'm already in the bus. I'll be there in like an hour or so. So she was waiting for me. So for me, I would say it was easier, but of course I was shocked by the environment. There was no building, no trees, very dry. And when the wind comes, the dust just rises up. And you're like, oh my goodness, where is this place? Kenya is much better in terms of the environment. It looks green and buildings. It's beautiful. Kenya is beautiful, but North Cyprus is not. It's not. So that was my experience, yes. So your mom sends you to North Cyprus. She's given you a duvet that you used to roll yourself together with your passport and the money that she gave you.
That's right.
Does the Lord provide? Did you get a job? Is it easy to get a job there? And how did you actually end up in working at the hospital? And how soon was that?
One of the things about coming from a Christian family, we do understand, and even as you as a believer as well, how it is when someone says you need to believe God for something, or you need to trust God for something. We take it literally because we know that it's no joke. It's really like being thrown, on the sea, just like Jonah. How you survive. God better provide something.
True.
So I remember when I finally or eventually they allocated me a dormitory where I will stay, and 4 people. Actually, we were about 6 people in one room, and I remember that time our room didn't have lights, and then and so I was like, wow, how did this boy expect me to study with no lights? There was only one heater in the room. I was so hungry, I went to the matron, and I said, excuse me, I'm a student here. How do you expect me to study with no light? I was just like the light that entered into that room. So when I went there and I complained the first day, they made sure they fixed the light in the room. They put the chairs, and I couldn't imagine how these people are surviving. They're just quiet, and you may even think that there's no one in the room, but actually there were people living in the room. But it's just that I don't know why people were not
assertive,
uncomfortable, or uncomfortable with that kind of environment. It reached a point that now I gathered the guys and I was like, hey, I think things, you are used to this kind of life. I understand, I respect that, but okay, let's do this. Let's. I'm gonna make a dustbin for each one of you. Okay, so I will clean this room. Okay, and then I will literally make a dustbin for each one of you and put close to your bed. So if you have any rubbish, just throw there. Okay. So I was literally putting the room in order. And they're all Africans in the room. You're from different countries. Zimbabwe and South of Nigeria. We started to build a relationship. What I realized is the love of God that was in my heart. I really wanted to know. I was concerned. That is love. Where there's love, you become concerned. You just don't overlook things. So I was like, hey, what's going on with you? And I was wanting to know how they're doing, what's happening. One of the things that I did was, at that time, bread was quite cheap, I think it was like 50 cents,
I know.
Like, I don't know, I forgot what they used to call them. What's the name of the big bread, what's the name? Oh my goodness. That's right. That one is a lifesaver. You can eat that for a whole day, It's just wow.
And it tastes well. It's totally a different taste from Nairobi, from Kenya's bread.
Yes.
But it was a savior for sure, because 50 cents and then you get an egg, you're good to go.
Yes. So most people will buy that and they can survive. They like cut it, divide it into three, eat for
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
Yeah.
So, so we used to buy Indomies and we used to have one guy in our room. He's from Nigeria and he used to have Nigerian spices. So we
Oh.
used to buy food and get him to cook. I was like,
Ah.
oh, wow. And
Nice.
I didn't. It's so beautiful, and I've never seen how food can bring people together. Like
Mm.
that. That was a life changer, game changer in our room. One of the rooms that was deserted became the best room in that whole. And it was during that time that I met other Kenyans. That's how I met John.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
John was cooking ugali on the other side. I was wondering what.
Ah, Lord, John.
like this guy cooking ugali and he's not inviting me. What's wrong with him? So I went to him. I was like, "Hey, bro, do you know I'm from Kenya also?" Because I was
Oh,
longing for Kenyan food. That's how I met the Kenyans. It was through that I discovered that people say that getting jobs are difficult. It was through that scenario, because I
yeah.
was asking around, and then also I met one Pakistani guy, and I told him, "Hey, bro, I think he also was doing masters. So we our timing was, masters is a bit flexible.
Yeah.
So we decided, okay, never mind. Let's try let's try and look for work. So despite and I even forgot to mention the lady who came with me, when she heard that there are no jobs, after 1 week she went back home.
Oh,
She returned to Kenya.
oh my
Yes, that is
goodness.
how serious. Because you see, she told me that she had resigned from her work because she thought that she'll be working.
Right.
And I think for her it was more of she was going to support herself. So she
Mhm.
was worried how she was going to survive. Just to show you that different people responded differently. With the Pakistani guy, we went to Guinea for the first time. I want you to imagine that in North Cyprus, they speak Turkish and they don't speak English. That was a big, huge culture shock for me because how do they make me do IELTS and
Yeah.
they don't speak English?
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, so don't get me started on that. But anyway, so a
Yeah,
lot of countries you need IELTS to actually have it,
it's
and
true.
looking at Cyprus, we didn't at that time we assumed Cyprus is in
It's
Europe.
Europe. I know, everybody does.
The situation on the ground was so different.
Yeah.
Only to come here and realize that
There are two
yeah,
sides. There are two
there are two sides
Cypresses.
of life. That's why I did it because I just didn't want disappointment anymore. So we went to Guinea and you see, we were so open to work, meaning whatever work we will get, it was even if it's washing dishes, we just
Yeah.
want to earn something because we just want to support ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I was not sure how much the money that I had that my mom gave it to me. I'm not sure how long that was going to take me. But
Yeah.
all I knew was I'm gonna call back home again for
Yeah.
money because that was just like, okay, it's you and the Lord. It was easier for the Pakistani to get that job because a lot of Pakistanis were working in the hotel industry there.
Yeah.
So what they did when they went to the first hotel, they told him, okay, you want to try? So they gave him a trial for 2 hours. So he immediately went to wash dishes for 2 hours just to
Oh.
try. And for me, they didn't even talk to me. So
Oh no.
I just, as usually, you just assume that's a very big no, because they said it's easier for him because other Pakistanis are inside. So it will be easier for communication and easier for. So when we were looking for work, one of the words that I was told to use was ish, because
Ish.
ish is
Yes,
equivalent to
work.
work in Turkish.
Yes.
Yeah. So I learned two words, ishvan.
Do you have job?
So if you have job and if
Yes.
they do like this, if they do, yeah, if they do that, it's a no. So I
Yeah.
learned two very crucial words. And I think after that, he got a job, all right, to work in the place in the kitchen. But I didn't get. Actually, I went to one of my supervisors and I spoke to her. I said, hey, I spoke to her, I said, I'm looking for a job. Is there a place you can recommend? Then she recommended Guinea hospital. She said that, oh, this hospital is new. Maybe you can try, and she wrote for me a recommendation letter, you know, giving to Selma, oh, I am a very good student. And, she doesn't even know me at that point.
Nice.
This is just
You
to
sleep a
show you
lot?
how God's favor, God's
Yes.
favor was just a word. All this was just God's favor and just by faith, doing things just by faith. Like, despite of what people had told me, because people really said it's very difficult to get jobs,
Yeah.
and people had given up completely. So I went to Guinea. I went to look for that hospital, and what I did was I submitted my CV, and then I left it there. And then they called me for an interview. I think 2 days later. So I remember that day. I told my roommates. I said, guys, hey, I have a hospital job interview. I need you guys to pray for me. I need to support me. So these guys are so funny. They looked at me and said,
No.
okay, this suit looks nice, but I think the shoes, you need to change your shoes. They gave me their own shoes, to suit the suit. This is how
Friendship.
yeah, this is how that room became so very, the love that was brooded in that room.
Yeah.
I can tell you. So I think that I stayed in that room for 3 months, but the relationship that I made for those 3 months changed my life. It was through that room that I was introduced to go to FIF church because of one of the guys, Zimbabwean guys staying there. I always call him Bishop because he always wears like a bishop. I know one day really God will use him, and then so I had given everyone a Christian nickname, in the room. So everyone had their own name,
Yeah.
I was like John the Baptist. I've never been to such a huge interview
Right.
where we have a panel. To me, it was like a shock, because one, this is just to show you how I really went there by faith. It's because I don't know Turkish at all. And I'm assuming that people are meeting there, definitely they don't speak Turkish. They don't speak English. Sorry. That was my
assumption.
So I was just in my heart. I'm just praying. I'm just saying, Lord, I'm just going by faith. I don't know who I'm going to face there, but this is it. So when they called my name, I entered the room. It's funny because at that time, wow, the level of how God gave me confidence. I've never been confident in my life like that. When I think about boldness, I was so bold. I don't know why. So I was sitting there I'm sitting on one side. It's like those, if you watch the England movie, where the king sits very far, and then the queen sits there. It's the same design, but then you have the panel sitting all across. I think there were about like almost, if I could remember, it should be like about 7 or 8 people. So I'm just sitting on my own there. Hi, how are you? Yes, hi. Okay. So, do you know that language is an issue here? That's what they asked me, Can you speak Turkish? I said, I can speak a little bit, but then they say, how will you be able to communicate with the other nurses with the language? I told them, I said, with nursing, we work as a team. If there's anything that I need to ask, we work together as a team. I will ask them, we'll talk to them. Wow. I was just responding like that, the confidence. Then they told me, okay, you can say thank you. The interview is finished. I said, okay, that's it. So I left. When I got into the bus, usually you have to wait for the bus to take you back to Lefkosha, to the other city from Guinea. So when I was in the bus and the bus was going, when I just reached the university, near East University, and I came out there, and they just gave me a call and said, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you that you got the job. That's how I got the job.
We forgot to tell you got a job.
That's it. They just told me that we forgot to tell you that you actually got the job, and say congratulations. And it's funny because a lot of Africans, when I told them that I got a job in the hospital, most of them, they couldn't believe it. Yeah. They couldn't believe that I'm actually working in the hospital.
You're in the bus, you get a phone call to tell you that you got a job, even without the language. How do you plan to maneuver?
When they told me that I got a job, I was so excited. And I think at one moment, I couldn't believe it because first and foremost, I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know the language, I just arrived in the island. And the only thing I know is Ish.
Ishvar.
Ishvar.
Do you know Tishikular?
That one as well.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Gunaid. Yeah. Gunaid knows every time in the morning. And the Yakshabla. Because those are the ones that really really, really stood out for me because I'm always greeting patients, and I
Yeah.
think those are the ones that I learned very, very fast. One of the most important things that I appreciate is during that time, God really provided people who really walked with me, especially in the working force, who were. And it's funny because when I went there, I was not the only foreigner. I was the only African, but I was not the only foreigner. So there
Right.
were other foreigners also working there. I think we had people from Iran. We had also people from Russia as well. So I was not the only foreigner. So I think that was one of the most grateful thing that I appreciated because at least I know that there were other people. They were speaking English. So definitely they understood how it feels to come to a nation where the language is different.
Yeah.
So they were encouraging me and they were telling me, don't worry, in time you're gonna pick it up, you're gonna speak it up, and I think that was it, and with the working there, that is how I pick it up. And it became like English, but it was very interesting. But I'm not sure about you, how was your experience in
Yeah.
terms of looking for work and all that? Yeah.
I think my story is an interesting one because when I left Kenya, I already knew that I will have a job. What happened, which is a miracle in itself, is on the day when we are scheduled to do interviews or to do a test for scholarship back in Kenya,
Okay.
my agent forgets to call me to go for the test.
Oh dear.
So I don't do the test. And then when I go to visit them the following day, he tells me, oh, it was on Monday. Oh, I'm so sorry. On Friday, we did that scholarship test and I forgot to call you, he tells me. I said, but
Okay.
my friend, I was the first one on the list for this university. How could you have
Oh
forgotten me?
dear.
I told him, I'm not going to let it go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to write a letter
Okay.
and I'll write a letter on my behalf, but I will write as you. Then you will
Okay.
send it to the university. I wrote the letter as him, and then he sent to the university saying, this lady is a journalist, she's a
Yeah.
communication person. When she comes there, she can do blah, 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 blah things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
return, could you please give her scholarship? And this is how I got
Yeah.
my scholarship. So on my
Oh, that's
journey to
good.
going to North Cyprus, I have a scholarship, 100% tuition fee, no
Okay.
accommodation, no pocket money. And I
Okay.
have a job that is not going to pay me because it's in return to a scholarship. So how do I
Okay.
survive there in North Cyprus? Another miracle comes. Somebody leaves the international office. When I went there, I was working in the digital marketing office. I don't get any
Nice.
payment, just the scholarship.
Nice.
A few months
Okay.
later, somebody leaves the international admissions office and they want somebody who speaks English and, very good with communication. Who do they see?
Yeah.
They see me
Yeah.
and they tell me, come downstairs and we will also give you something small. I move
Yeah.
down to international admissions office where they pay me and voila, I get some money to eat and to,
Nice.
yeah, for
Nice.
accommodation.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
So
I
now
mean,
you have
yeah,
a
it is.
job, you can learn
Yeah.
Turkish from your friends. What was the most difficult thing for you in North Cyprus? Having lived in Malaysia and, of course, being a Kenyan, what is different apart from the language, of course? What about the food? What did you like? What did you not like?
Oh, I think I would say that in both countries, I had
Yeah,
culture shock. I
of
think
course.
if I could mention about Malaysia, I think the first culture shock was I would relate that to Cyprus as well. So in Kenya we have porridge. I think everywhere people have porridge, but what we don't realize is different countries have a different ways they make porridge. Porridge, yes. So the first time I arrived in Malaysia, I was looking for a common food that is similar to Kenya, and I saw the word porridge, and I said, "Praise the Lord." Well, at least I got something that is same as back home. I wouldn't have any stomach problems.
Right.
Praise the Lord. So I went there. I said, "Hey guys, I want porridge." Okay. So as I was waiting, they brought to me overcooked rice
Right.
with vegetables in the middle. So I looked
Okay.
at them. I said, "I think I'm so sorry. I think this is not the right thing that I ordered.
The
I
right
actually ordered
porridge.
porridge. Yeah, I ordered porridge. And it was funny because the guy was serious and saying that actually this is porridge. That was the culture shock that I had in Malaysia. Only to realize that porridge here they use rice to make porridge. I think
Right.
in Cyprus, it was quite different. their yogurts. They're like,
Right.
they go all the way. Their yogurt, their cheese, like cheese is everywhere. And I think I think for the culture shock for me is that the bread, they eat bread with everything. You know,
I know. I know.
breakfast, lunch, dinner. If bread is missing, it's like bread is the bread of life. Like if it's not there, so that was one of the culture shock. I could imagine this one having bread for breakfast, and then and after that you have the cheese and different type of cheese. And the cheese is a bit sour because for me, I'm used to sweet cheese, but then they consider healthy cheese, and wow, and I think I saw beans. When I saw beans, red beans, I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, this is Kenyan food, bro. I was like,
Hmm.
whoa, I want to test this. But
Yeah.
when I test, it's so different. The taste is so
Oh,
different. The spices are so different. Until I discovered shawarma.
I know.
We call it what in
The room.
they wrap it. Durum. Yes. Yes. That is how I gained weight, by the way.
Oh, I
Because that
know.
became my bread and butter. Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't know about you. What was the first culture shock for
So
you?
in Kenya, we don't have olives. So the
Oh,
first time I
okay.
get to the plane, they bring me olives, they bring me cheese, the sour cheese. I would say I first tasted cheese and olives in the plane on my way to North Cyprus. The olives were not nice at
Okay.
all. They were horrible.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that afterwards, I actually learned to love olives. Even today, I love olives, and I love cheese,
Nice. Nice.
halloumi cheese,
Nice.
and I couldn't believe in my life eating something sour and something sugar at the same time. You know what I'm talking about? Halloumi and
I see. I see. I see.
watermelon. It's
I
it's a
see.
beautiful combination. I
Uh,
think the Turkish food is closer to Arabic food, which is closer to Swahili food.
nice. Yes.
So
Yes.
coming
Yes.
from Kenya, it's not that different. If you
Yep.
if you
Yep.
get the right spices, I mean they have almost similar spices. Of course, they use lemon everywhere,
Yep.
just like bread. There's lemon in rice,
Yep.
lemon in anything. I never experienced
True.
this before I went to North Cyprus to have lemon and bread, in every
Oh
meal.
yes.
I
Yes.
was
Yes.
surprised to see sometimes you go to the restaurant, you ask for potato chips, fries, and they bring also a piece of bread. I'm like, how are you supposed to
Yeah.
eat potatoes with bread? But it's their culture, so you learn to
It's
accept
their
it.
culture.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was
It's
it
their
for me in
culture.
terms of food. Of course, there was the
Ah,
language part of it, but
I
yeah.
think one other thing was their trust system. It's very interesting. Like they trust everybody. Like I don't know, maybe because the place is so small, like they know everyone there.
Yeah,
So like the
yeah.
trust system is like interesting. Yeah, so something
But I
that
think
I
this has
yeah
since changed as having so many foreigners coming to the small island. And I think this trust is wearing
yeah
off slowly but surely because some people had been
yeah
trusted and they did not fulfill this trust. How
yeah
did you meet? Of course, you told me you met John who was making ugali. I think John is the common denominator for us because my
yeah yeah
sister knew John because they were in the same university, and now
yeah
you know John. And one time, I think this is how we met. We had like a dinner for Kenyans, and we met,
yes yes yes
made ugali. Of
yes
course,
yes.
John brought the
That's
flour.
right.
I don't know where he used to
That's
get the
right.
flour from.
I don't know. Yeah, he just had connections.
Yeah,
I think he really is a very very nice guy. I think he really played a very vital role in
yeah.
terms of connecting us together. I think it's through him that I think I met you. I met your sister. I met Magda and a lot of international Kenyans. And I think it's also through him that we decided that hey, we should move out from the hostel and get an
Ah,
apartment because I
right.
think we realized that um, it's so difficult to have privacy in such a huge place,
Yeah.
and even if you want to maintain order, it's not so easy because a lot of the times, you're sharing, especially the sharing of the kitchen was one of the interesting parts.
Right. Why?
We had one Nigerian guy who used to come and cook. He can take hours there, So if you
Ah,
want to cook, you have to make sure you come before a certain time. Otherwise, when he takes over the kitchen, because
right.
in the kitchen you just have only I
Stoves.
know what they call it, two stoves.
Yeah.
So if he decides that he's coming to cook, and Nigerian meals take time,
Yeah.
So he will take so long. So even if you just want to fry your own egg or fry your own meal or your own noodles, it just takes 15 minutes or maybe 10 minutes. You have to wait for him to finish like a 1 hour.
Right.
And so that I think those are one of the challenges that you are facing. We have to make sure that that guy is not there, because if he's there, we know we're not cooking. So this is one of the reasons that we said maybe let's move out and get an apartment so that we can have a more family or family setup, where we can, and we can be able to stay together as a family. I think that is how we moved out from the hostels with him, and then we went to Guinea, and Guinea is beautiful.
It's
I think Guinea
beautiful.
is so beautiful. I think
Yeah.
because of the sea there, life is a bit different. People are more relaxed there.
It's true. Yeah.
Lefkosia is like, it's like a city of hustlers, and
Yeah.
when you come to Guinea, people are so relaxed, people are so
Mm-hmm.
chilled out. Like, it's a very different atmosphere. And I think this was beautiful. This is how I met. I think Magda also was staying in Guinea at that time. And I think that was the first time we met her. And that was the first time she made chapati for us.
I
Also,
know,
like, that was
gosh.
like, we just realized that she's a chapati chef. And we met her with Lucy. And
Yeah.
that is how our life changed as well. That's how our Kenyan community became huge.
And then I
And
came
I
in,
think,
I started making mandazi.
oh, that's right. That's right. You made Badazi. And you used to put cinnamon inside.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah. Your mandazis are the best.
Oh, it was a beautiful time because everybody had a role. If we meet, John will make
Yeah,
ugali. John and
that's right.
Lucy's brother will make
Yes.
ugali.
Let's see.
And
Yeah.
Magdalene will be making the chapati. Some other guys
Yes.
will be making the lentils, which is the soup, and the chicken. Of course, you came in
Oh,
there.
that's
And
the
I'll be
famous
making the
lentils.
mandazis. Oh,
We,
I miss those
the
times.
lentils, we call them dengu. Yeah, in
Dengu.
Swahili.
Dengu za Kenya, I know.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Wow. It was a
I think
beautiful time.
they made life really, really beautiful. Yeah, I think that was the best community that we had in that
Yeah.
island. I think despite the challenges there, I think to
Yeah.
have a community like that, I think that really pushed us.
Helped.
Really was a big, huge encouragement. It helped a lot.
Yeah. And I think also when you have friends like those, you become like accountable unknowingly. They're not going to
Yes.
tell you anything, but because you
Yes.
see them going on the right direction, most of them, you don't
Yeah.
get lost because
Yeah.
we have seen many students, of course, in North Cyprus coming there and getting engaged in criminal activities. But thankfully,
Yeah.
I have not heard of a Kenyan so far since 2017. So, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not happy that the other nationals are involved in criminal, but there's
Yeah.
something about Kenyans, I don't know what, that helps them
Yeah.
to remain focused.
What helps also is because we love the Lord, and
Mhm.
and because of that, we love people so much, and we care to see them not to go the wrong way.
Yeah.
And because of that, we will not just allow someone to continue doing something wrong.
Yeah.
We will approach them and speak to them. And I think that's what helped us as a Kenyan community. We're always checking up on each other,
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing? Is everything all right? And I think that really, really helped. The times when we are low, we always
Yeah.
have one coming alongside
True.
and supporting and working with you. And I think this is something that I realized in Cyprus, that if you didn't have that community, life was really difficult.
It was.
Because I've seen a lot of students, because they don't have that community, struggle really, really badly. Really good.
Is there anything else you want to add, Emmanuel, about your journey in North Cyprus? Anything at all?
I think I would say that, maybe say what I learned, and maybe I would advise maybe someone who wants to go there. So when I went to Cyprus is where I really discovered God on a different level. Being in the place where God wants you to be, I think that's very, very important. Being or going, I always tell myself that greener pastures is where the voice of God is.
Yeah.
Where God speaks, that is green pastures for you. Because when he speaks, there's direction, there's clarity. It was a journey that God was molding me and teaching me how to see the value of his word. When he speaks, things happen. I learned through Cyprus that life is spiritual. It is through God we know our true identity, and it is through God we know our purpose. It is through Cyprus that I realized my calling. in serving in the ministry. And I think God had confirmed that. There was 3 confirmations when I was there. And during that period of time, God molded me to be who I am at the moment. And so I want to encourage someone who is going to Cyprus or who wants to go to Cyprus. I wanted to know that get a community, a godly community that loves God, who will nurture you, a community that will encourage you, because it is through this community they will build your personality, they will, they will determine your character, they will determine your company. Through this community, they will protect you, that you will not be overwhelmed by what is on the ground already, to be where we are right now.
Yeah.
And I think that if it was not for God helping us and sustaining us through, I don't know where we would be, and I think this is so amazing, but I want to thank God for that. Thank you for this beautiful opportunity to share what God can do and what God is able to do. So don't be afraid to go to the country. You can learn Turkish. Don't be afraid. It's a beautiful country,
It is.
it is a beautiful country. When you know the language, I think life becomes so
Easier.
beautiful, so easier. Yeah. Everywhere you go, you get the respect. I think when you learn the language, they respect that you respect the culture.
Yes. So first of all, I want to just reiterate what you say, that it's important for you to have a personal relationship with God, because when you do that, then God will show you the right direction and confirm things.
That's right.
Yes, I want to go to North Cyprus, but is it what you want? I mean, because you can go there, and we have seen it, people coming there thinking this is where I want to be. And 1 month, 2 months down the line, you realize, no, this is not where I want to be. And the people have moved out, gone back to their countries or to other countries where they were supposed to be. That is really important to have a connection with God, to have a good connection with other people, your friends, and that they can help you to remain accountable to what you're supposed to do. I would like to encourage people, of course, that are going to North Cyprus to study or to work. It's important to have the language. If you can start, if you know that you're going there, start learning the language. We have Duolingo, for example. It's a free application. You can start learning the language to know numbers. Also, it's important for you to do a research before you go to North Cyprus. Know where you're going. It's important for you, when you have this knowledge, to know, how do I talk to these people? How do I react to them? I think when you have knowledge, you react and act differently. So this is what I would tell people. Once you get there, find the right friends. Do not engage in criminal activities and study. Thank you so much for your support so far. We don't take it for granted. We appreciate you. Click the subscribe button below and let us grow together. Thank you. Ciao.